happy. Happy New Year. Today is the day I officially restart my YouTube channel. I feel a mix of nervousness and happiness. And after this video, I hope to shed light on the reason for my extended absence and get my viewers excited again. You see, it's been nearly 3 months since my last video, and the main reason was that I needed to pause and think. When I started my YouTube journey like 3-4 months ago, I did so without a clear content plan or a strategy. I felt my videos lacked direction, which honestly showed in the content I produced. Or maybe I was just being too hard on myself, but either way, I just needed to pause and figure things out. While soul searching and trying to find the thing, I told myself there are 2 issues I needed to solve. One was I sensed inauthenticity in my content. Even though I seemed enthusiastic and positive, I was worried and confused deep down. I was scared. Hell, I'm still afraid, even if it's not as much as I used to be like 6-7 months ago when I got here. I had so many doubts and questions about my life, but I was just so uncomfortable sharing them online because that's just not how I deal with different issues. I prefer to deal with them and then maybe talk about them later. My second main reason was that I was too new to start talking about my observations about the UK. I was a newcomer. I think I'm still a newcomer. And telling my viewers stuff about this place without genuinely grabbing its nuances was just not the way to do it. And lastly, my strategist and storytelling nature just couldn't allow me to post one more video without a storyline or a clear strategic message. Anyway, the good news is that I've figured things out now and I'm almost entirely settled. And boy, I have so much to say and so many stories to write down. And with that, I start for the story of the day. I am a completely new person now. I've changed, honestly. And I want to answer the question on, is the change in me because of moving to the UK or changing my work environment? For me to answer this question, I first need to talk about my relationship with work in general. You see, I've worked tirelessly since high school for as long as I can remember. Immediately after high school, I was working at a bakery shop in Village Market for almost the entire year before I joined uni. And then I started juggling multiple jobs during my university years. I had so much energy to burn. I remember there was even time when I worked from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then again 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to just, like hustle, I used to call it, for 6 consecutive weekends, I was so immersed in working and getting my own money because I thought with money comes independence, Immediately after uni, I joined the agency life. I started media planning, and that's where the real story begins. I loved my job. I loved how interesting it was. I loved how dynamic it was. I loved how exciting it was. It was full of adrenaline all the time. I loved the exposure it gave me, the people I met, the friends I made, and I honestly loved how fun it was. I became it. I literally became my job, and my job became me. The downside of this was that I had no life outside work, and when the pandemic hit, I was blindsided by its impact. I'd become so consumed by work that I literally became sick. By the time I was halfway into pandemic, I'd received 2 promotions in just 2 years. I was leading one of the biggest brands in the country. I was so proud, but that was short-lived. It only took me to look into the mirror for me to stop being proud of myself because my self-esteem was shattered. I'd abandoned my hobbies. I'd let myself go. I'd let my self-care go. I'd gained 20 kgs, so clothes couldn't fit. And the clothes that I used to buy are just baggy t-shirts just to hide the internal shame and disappointment I had in myself. I lost myself, man, completely. In a recent book that I read, that is Atomic Habits, James talks about the importance of having different identities and goals because, having one identity, one belief, one goal can easily consume us. We might find ourselves lost trying to achieve that goal or fit that one identity. In short, I think what he means is we become the identity we chase. And if it's not balanced with other things, yeah, you guessed it, it can quickly become the end of us. And he's exactly right. That's what happened to me. I was so obsessed with work achievements, with promotions, with the independence that I thought I was getting, that I forgot to set my personal goals. I forgot to look after my health. I forgot to take care of my relationships. I even forgot my relationship with God, that is my spirituality. And I honestly hope my viewers actually make a point of reflecting on themselves, because this was an eye-opening for me. My experience during the pandemic and work, and how I allowed others and myself to drive me sick. When I say sick, I mean mentally and physically sick, can fill a whole 4 pages, and that's gonna be a story for another day. But my point is, I lived to work instead of working to live. Or is it the other way around? Lol, I don't know. So in response to your question, it's not the UK that changed me. It's leaving my previous work environment that made the difference. Being far away from it all and starting from scratch helped me tremendously. It allowed me to develop new habits, new hobbies, reading, caring for myself, cooking different tasty meals. Afande actually says my cooking has been unlocked. And I now honestly live to see him just enjoying the food that I cook. Lol. Cleaning is something else that I love. Girl, we don't have a house help anymore. We do the work ourselves now. I do the washing. I do the cleaning. I do the ironing of clothes. I do the dusting of the house. I do the dishes. I fold the clothes. And what I like about this is I love doing it. It makes me so happy, you know? And yeah, exercising. Yeah, we are back full force to exercising. I do kickboxing, do dancing, do HIIT exercise with our boy Shanti, with that insanity thing that you can't seem to pass past 1 week, but we are pushing for that. Don't worry about it. But most importantly, I'm calm and I treat myself with kindness and with grace. Saying this actually makes me emotional. But yeah, I am kind to myself now. To everyone listening or watching this, I want to share some advice. Be mindful of your time. Make sure you have a good balance in your life. That is spiritually, in terms of your health, and with your work. Take a moment to think about how your work and personal life fits together. If you tend to wake up and immediately check your email or think about work, or if work-related phone calls wake you up at night, or maybe in my case, you often feel anxious, dream of work, think of work, talk about work, breathe work. I was so uneasy because of work tasks. Then it's essential for you to stop and reflect. Consider going on a 4 to 5 day solo trip to assess how you're doing, and even, how you're going to choose to say no if you need it. I vividly recall the wise words of someone is Cliff, actually. I remembered I was so anxious. This phone call happened at around 7 p.m. I was so anxious. I'm sorry, I get so emotional reflecting back to my COVID days and work. I was so anxious, so on edge, because I don't even remember why. It was work, of course, but I don't even remember if it was a plan or a strategy, but I was just anxious. And I remember him telling me, like, hey, be relaxed, go to sleep. Nobody's life depends on you. And you completing that media plan or that strategy or whatever before 3 a.m. is not a matter of national emergency. Like, nobody's going to die. You're not saving the world. You need to relax. You need to breathe and you need to sleep. I still, carry that lesson with me till this day. And this advice was given to me in 2021 after several work-related mental breakdowns. And even though I didn't listen then, because, yeah, you guessed it, I didn't listen then. I continued working myself to sleep, and I woke up and worked. It was just crazy, man. I'm listening now, and I sincerely hope you listen to me when I advise you to slow down and do not allow work to define your identity. And if you're a leader, please believe your team when they say that they are mentally drained, and strive not to try and work your team until the point of breakdown. This happened to me. And you know what else happened? I did the same thing to my team. It was when it was my time to lead. It was as if I needed them to stay up until the odd hours of night, just like I did. I really didn't care. I needed them to finish the job. I didn't care if it was Saturday. I didn't care if it was Sunday. I didn't care if it was 4 a.m. I didn't care if it was 10 p.m. I needed the work done. And in my defense, honestly, I thought that's how employment worked. I did not realize that's just not the way to do it. I did not realize I was being the toxic boss that I didn't want to be. And until last year, February, when I went on a solo trip to Coast and reflected and just, think about how I was doing things, is when, I had to come back to my senses, and I had to apologize severally to two teammates who finally told me no and opened up about my nonsense of a leading style that I had. One of them told me everything that I had done to her, and I had to apologize. I still do. Another one, he told me, "Hey, don't be a boss, be a leader." Those were very strong words that I still carry. Good thing they're still my friends, but to be honest, what I'm trying to say is I wish I had the same strength to say no when that was being done to me. But it's okay. I choose to break the cycle. I choose to be better instead of blaming others for my action and my decisions. And yeah, talk of work. I'm now working at Subway. I moved from Mackey's, aka McDonald's, after my Employee of the Month shenanigans. Lol. And I have stories for days, and I can't wait to write to you next week and tell you about my experience shifting from the managerial role we had in Kenya to an entry-level service job, and what I like or even maybe slightly dislike about it. But until then, see you next time. And remember, girlfriend, you are enough. You are doing great. And remember, habits do not add up. They compound. So keep your head up. Keep what you're doing, and they will pay off, and your breakthrough will come soon. But until then, cheers. XOXOXO. XXXOO.